Hi everyone, I'm Kevin Nelson. Here's a look at what's going on this week in the news. We begin with news from the Vatican. Pope Francis made a visit this past weekend to a Rome parish, which was recently renovated. Before Mass and the dedication of the altar, the Pope took time to greet the elderly and the sick, and he responded to some questions, including one proposed by a young 20-year-old woman who is preparing young people to receive the sacrament of confirmation. She asked the Pope for advice on how to deal with doubts that arise during difficult moments in life.
Tu come responsabile dei crescimandi, insegnale a dubitare bene, perché se non imparano a dubitare, faranno della cresima quello che alcuni romani dicono, è il sacramento dell'addio. Dopo la cresima, felice sorte se non ci vediamo più, e se ne vanno, perché non sanno come gestire i dubbi. Non so se ho risposto o tu vuoi che dica qualcosa di più. Dai.
Con i ragazzi ci siamo chiesti se anche lei, che comunque è il più grande rappresentante, se vogliamo, della fede, nella sua vita le è mai successo di avere dei forti dubbi che l'hanno messa veramente alla prova e come è riuscito a uscirne? Ecco, come ha fatto.
Ne ho avuto tanti dubbi, tanti. Davanti alle calamità, ma anche davanti alle cose che mi erano successe nella mia vita, no? Tanti. Come sono riuscito a uscire? Io credo che non sono uscito da solo. No? Non si può mai uscire da solo da un dubbio. Ci vuole la compagnia di qualcuno o qualcuna che ti aiuti ad andare avanti.
Pope Francis said the one thing is to show one's heart to Jesus as it is, whether it is content or sad, happy or bitter, and not to be afraid to speak to him about these situations. He said that sooner or later one will recognize Christ. After the question and answer session, Pope Francis celebrated Mass and dedicated the altar of the newly restricted parish.
In news from around the country, Boston Cardinal Sean O'Malley has released a statement condemning recent bills proposed by the Massachusetts legislature to expand abortion access throughout the state. The Senate and House versions of the bill would allow abortion with no restrictions up to the 24th week of pregnancy. Additionally, it allows abortions past the 24-week mark if the abortion is necessary to protect the patient's life or physical or mental health, or in cases of lethal fetal anomalies, or where the fetus is incompatible with sustained life outside the uterus. The bills also only require a consent form from the woman who is seeking to have a procedure performed, thus circumventing the possibility of parental consent before a minor's abortion. The Cardinal called the bills threatening to human life and dignity and urged opposition to them even by those who support Roe v. Wade. The Cardinal ended his statement by stressing the Church's commitment to giving women life-preserving options if they are caught in tough pregnancies. In news from around the world, the use of child soldiers is one of the farthest-reaching and most disturbing trends in contemporary conflict. An organization led by a former Canadian lieutenant general is taking a prevention-oriented approach to create the necessary tools and training supported by research to better protect children from recruitment and, in so doing, help end this crime against humanity once and for all.
Lieutenant General Romeo Dallaire has experienced the realities of war firsthand during his distinguished military career. After serving in many roles, he has dedicated his life to preventing child soldiers from experiencing those same realities.
A child soldier is not just a boy with an AK-47, it is all youth under the age of 18, of which 40% are girls. Any child that's employed by any non-state actor or government forces in any capacity, from spying to washing dishes, they are all considered part of the construct of child soldiers, and as such it goes against the official protocol on child rights.
The Romeo Dallaire Child Soldiers Initiatives is approaching the issue of child soldiers from multiple sides through training, research, and advocacy. They conduct training with police, military, and peacekeeping forces.
Now child soldiers are so prevalent in all conflicts as we give them the opportunities to do the training scenario-based and based on field experiences and research on how children are used and how they should react when they face them. And so you get a far more professional reaction instead of an instinctive reaction from them.
Romeo Dallaire and the initiative's executive director, Dr. Shelley Whitman, met with Pope Francis in January. They discussed having the Vatican become the 73rd state to agree to the principles of professionalizing their forces regarding child soldiers.
You're in the center. Who is here to see you, sir? And Dr. Shelley Whitman, executive director.
Wonderful to meet you.
According to the United Nations, there are 66 armed groups using child soldiers to some extent. Exact numbers on how many child soldiers there are around the world are not known at this time.
And finally in the news, members of the Pontifical Commission for the Protection of Minors met in Rome for its 10th plenary assembly. According to a press release, the Commission's president, Cardinal Sean O'Malley, conveyed Pope Francis's gratitude for the Commission's assistance in the February meeting with presidents of bishops' conferences on the protection of minors and the recently published safeguarding guidelines and norms for Vatican City State. The press release also said that the Commission is working on a number of projects, including the creation of a virtual survivors advisory panel as a way to listen to and learn from survivors in a safe and culturally familiar space. The Commission is also looking at starting an audit instrument that would include the analysis of the different models, monitoring the safeguarding guideline procedures to help local churches create, implement, and review their efforts. In December, the Commission is also expected to organize an international seminar on confidentiality and transparency with a particular emphasis on canonical penal procedures, and they plan to co-host a Latin American symposium on safe environments with the Archdiocese of Bogota, Colombia. Well, that's all the information we have for you this time. I'm Kevin Elson. Don't forget, you can keep up to date on Catholic news throughout the week with Catholic Newsbreak right here on the Catholic TV network.